Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be starting off my back to school series. First off, before I get started, I just want to say sorry that I didn't post any videos last week. I was just super busy with dance, and dance is really something that's important to me. So I decided, I was like, I'm just not going to post videos this week and really focus on dance. So I had a lot of I had dance 4 out of the 5 weekdays. So I honestly didn't really have time for anything other than dance. I danced for my school, so it was like with my school team. Like, I'm not in a studio or anything. But yeah, so today's first video is going to be my study tips, and I am going to be doing other videos. Some videos I can't put up till after school starts for me, and school doesn't start till September 3rd. So I'm really sorry if you start earlier than that. But the way I look at it is, like, I'm constantly adapting my study tips and organization and how I study constantly, so I feel like, you can kind of adapt it if you find those tips help you or something. I don't know. But I plan to do this every year, hopefully. But yeah, if you have any requests or like school related requests or questions, comment them down below for sure. But anyways, I'm going to get started because I have a lot of tips. Some of these, there's like a general organization, but they're not organized like this is about this, but there's kind of like a general organization. So first thing is use a planner. Most schools give you planners. If they don't, I recommend you go and buy one. I use my planner every day. I write down everything I have to do that's school related. I write down anything school related, any of my extracurricular activities, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, anything that I need to remember. I write down everything in my planner so I always know what's going on and I'm never like confused or anything, and I found that really helps. Okay, next is type things. I feel like this really helps. Maybe you need to see your own handwriting to study, but I feel like people study a lot better when things are typed because they're really neat. If you're a fast typer, this could be efficient, but if you're a slow typer, it could be efficient. I'm a really fast typer, so I can get it done quickly. For you, it may not be efficient, but I find it is for me. I generally don't type my school stuff. The only time I really type stuff is for my study guides, which I make at home and keep at home, so then I don't have to bring home anything for like a test except my like textbook to refer to. I generally don't type things to bring back to school, but maybe you want to type your notes. I did that like half of the year last year, but then it just got to be too much. And next is putting everything in sheet protectors. This makes sure that you don't lose anything because it's really hard for them to come out. Now, I don't follow this to a T. I only do it for some classes because some classes, we have a quiz every week or something, and so it's just not worth it to put them in the sheet protectors. I honestly don't decide till like after the first week of school whether I want sheet protectors or not. So if you guys want how I'm organizing my stuff for 9th grade this year, how I'm organizing, to get some organizing tips, and how I'm organizing, I'm going to do that, but I can't do it till after school starts. Next is have color schemes. What I mean by this is, like, English for me this year is all pink? Blue. A shade of blue. So like my Duotang, which is like what I put my study guide in, which is just like a pronged folder, my folder for that class, and my notebook are all like a blue. I have color schemes, so like when I'm in my locker, I know that I need this binder, and some binders, the colors, like if I'm like, here, so American History and English are going to be in a binder together because they're consecutive classes, and my locker's really far. Like, all my classes are upstairs in our school, but our lockers are downstairs in this like side hallway, like totally out of our way on our way to classes. So my American History and English are together, but whichever class comes first, so like American History comes first, so my binder is black because that's with the class that comes first. And next is have separate note-taking notebooks for each class. I recommend doing this because a lot of my friends, they had like 4 subject notebooks, so like 1 notebook for their morning classes and 1 for their afternoon classes, but they would use up like say like in math, we took notes and did homework every single day except for Fridays. So we were taking notes, at least 1 page of notes, and then doing like 1 page of homework, if not 2, like a lot of homework and stuff. So they'd use up their whole section, and then they just start putting their notes in like their English section, and they wouldn't know what's what. Next is clean out your folders every once in a while. But then there's another tip. The next tip, which is keep everything. So clean out your folders, take out the old stuff, then make sure you keep everything. And what I do is I'll take it out and I'll just write down like the most important things I feel from that chapter that we learned. I write down the most important things in like a sheet of paper and put it in the back of my folder. So I have just the most important stuff. And next is don't procrastinate. I'm doing a video on how to like help stop procrastinating. Soon, I don't know when it'll be up, but I definitely want to do a video on procrastination, and there's also other ones on YouTube. So, and next is take book notes before classes on the weekends. So what I do is I'm going to have 3 textbooks this year, and I know for sure for 2. We have 5, obviously 5 days in a week, so I take, or however many days of school we have that week if we have, so I'll do the next 5 lessons and take book notes, and I do take my book notes to school and put them in my binder, so I'm not as like uninformed. I seem more informed and like I know a lot of stuff or something. I don't know. It just makes you appear smarter, and your teacher will like give you more credit and really like, yeah. So I just like take like the next 5 lessons, and if they happen to like, or like sections, whatever you want to call them, if they happen to skip one, then that night I'll bring home my textbook and make sure I do like the next lesson after the one that I stopped at. So just in case, so I at least have like a few after in case he skips some or something. I mean, he might come back to it, but he might skip it. And then if there's something in that chapter that he refers to, but he's combining the, or not chapter, but he's combining the 2 lessons, chapters, whatever, he's combining them, then I at least have an idea about what that was on, but he's not fully focusing on it, if that makes sense. And then next is color code, like per section, lesson, or chapter. I usually do it like chapter or lesson depending on the class. Like this chapter will be red, and in my like thing, like it'll be highlighted in red, and all my notes will be in red, and like so when I'm looking at all my stuff, I can see, okay, this is this chapter, it's red, and I have a key like somewhere in my binder. It's more hidden so I don't look like a retard, but I just keep like, yeah, that stuff in. So it's like key, so like chapter 1 is red, and I use my Sharpie retractable highlighters, which you guys will see hopefully in an upcoming video, because I use them all the time, and they have different colors than your typical highlighters, but I also do use like the normal colors. Yeah, so I try and color code like every chapter or so, depending on the class. And then next is take lots of notes in class. I take at least what the teacher like has on the board or PowerPoint or whatever, and then also try and take my own notes as well. If I hear something that they keep bringing up but they don't write it down, then I make sure to write it down, because obviously if they keep bringing it up, it's obviously important, but if they don't, sometimes they forget to write it down or something, so then you'll be the one to get that question right and other people get it wrong because they just write down what the teacher writes down. Next is make your own study guides. Some teachers give you study guides that have like practice questions, but I also make my own that just have information that I can just sit and, like, if I have extra study time in study hall, if I have extra time, I can just sit and read all that like information that's important, that I feel is important. And my foot's falling asleep. Or if they give, like, my history teacher last year would do what like what to study, what's going to be on the test, not specific things on the test, but like George Washington. So I just go through my study guide and be like, okay, make sure there's all information on George Washington. And next is use highlighters and post-its and make like a key to like correlate info from your notes to your book. So if you're in your study guide and you have to study George Washington. So you highlight anything in your study guide on George Washington in yellow, and then in your book, if there's like anything about George Washington in that chapter, you tab it in yellow so you can go back and read it. And make sure you have that in your study guide, so then when you're studying during class, like if you have study time during class, you don't have to be in your book. You can just use what you have, and it's a lot less to carry around and stuff for like studying in other classes when you have extra time after a test. Next is reread sections from your book that you tabbed, if you do that, and looking in the glossary for bolded words that are in that section of your text. So if there's a bold word and you don't have it in your study guide, look at that definition and see if it's the same to make sure you have the right definition. And also highlight vocabulary anywhere it shows up in your study guide. So if George Washington shows up, anywhere he shows up in your study guide, you highlight his name. Anywhere he shows up in your book, tab it. Like in that chapter, tab it, and try and reuse your tabs. I try to reuse them, but mine are the paper ones, but I like the paper ones better than the plastic. But, just try and reuse your tabs also. If the teacher gives you like a study guide or what will be on the test, highlight that in your study guide to make sure that you have all the information you need in yours. I personally like using my own because I understand it better, but whatever works for you. And next is make flashcards. I try and make them that night, so like any vocab from that day, I try and make them that night, because otherwise I won't do it otherwise. Sometimes I cut them in half. Most of the time I cut them in half, especially for Spanish, because I have so many, we use so many flashcards that I just need to cut them in half, because otherwise I'd run out, and yeah. Use flashcards for vocab, dates, people, foreign words, so definitely for Spanish or foreign languages, they help so much. And next is paperclip like sections or chapters after a test or a quiz. So after a quiz, I paperclip it, and then if we have after a quiz, we have a quiz on what we learned that week, and then what we did in history is we'd have a quiz that Friday on what we learned that week, and then we'd have a full chapter to review everything from that chapter. So I'd have the individual ones and then paperclip all of those together. So I make sure they're all in one place, and I know that, oh, this is one chapter, I don't need to be looking in this or something, so I don't get it confused with my more current papers. Next is make to-do list for school stuff that week. So I take just a loose leaf sheet of paper. We have so much loose leaf paper and random notepads, just whatever. Most of the time I use loose leaf paper because there's enough room for the week. So I'll just use this as an example. So I'd write the date of that week, so I know what days, and then I'd write down Monday, and I'd write down if there's homework due, if there's a quiz, if there's something due, and if I have something going on that night. So when I go home, I can look at it, and then on Tuesday, if I know there's going to be a test, I can be okay, there's a test here. So I can kind of plan out my week too. Friends oh, we need to hang out this week. Well, I'll be well, I can only hang out this day, and I can kind of plan out my week ahead of time. I'll do a video on that to explain it better. Next is review everything from class that night. So I pretty much bring everything home. I review it. I put anything important into my study guide. If I know it's important during class, I highlight it so I know it needs to go in my study guide. And next is set up a weekly time to review everything from class that week. So usually for me this is on Sundays. I'll go and I'll sit down and I'll just look at my study guide from that week, everything I typed that week, and read over it and make sure that I just refresh my mind after not doing any schoolwork that weekend. Next is to catch up on weekends, and I just get those cute dollar store notepads. I mean, they're $1, and there's just cute little designs, or you can get them from Walmart, wherever. I just like the dollar store because they're cheaper. And I just put down, okay, I need to I'll put my homework that's due Monday first, studying, just whatever I need to do school related, I put it on a to-do list so I can catch up. So let's say I got behind on my study guide for history. I'll be okay, catch up on study guide. So I know that I need to make sure I get that done before school starts Monday, and that's just stuff I need to catch up on from the week before Monday. anyways, those are all my tips. I really don't have any more tips to tell you. I feel like that's a lot, but I will definitely try and explain like more of these tips and how I use these tips like school-wise. I'm planning out videos like, you know, they help me. They might not help you, but there's lots of videos like this on YouTube, so you can always search up videos like this. If you have any requests or school-related videos that you want me to do, comment those down below as well. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Bye.